Life can throw crazy curveballs your way and you never know what tomorrow will bring, but one thing you can do is try to be prepared. Pretty and Prepared is a podcast hosted by me, Pamela Valdez, all about being the best version of yourself while preparing for the life you want and deserve. With this podcast, we are targeting millennials, content creators, students, creative individuals, and more looking to gain insight on all things social media, living your best life, self-confidence, love, building your career from the ground up, landing internships, secrets to working with brands, and so much more. Tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. for a brand new episode. Hello guys, welcome back to Pretty and Prepared podcast. Today we're going to be talking all about privacy, oversharing, knowing your limits, and more. As a content creator and as a girl that posts basically my entire life online, you would be surprised to know that there is so much of my life that I actually don't post online, and really only my close friends or my siblings or people in my family would really know like what actually goes on in my life. Not that it's anything bad, but I really do like to be a private person and I really value privacy. And especially being someone that is a content creator, I don't like to share everything online because it's not just people in my hometown or my close friends that are watching my social media. It's now people from all over the world, people that I don't even know, and just people that like my content. So I really have to be a lot more careful with what I post, but that doesn't mean that I obviously don't like sharing my life online, because I keep it super real with you guys, especially when it comes to literally everything that is going on. But today I wanted to share some tips on how to live a more private life and not share as much with people, or just sharing things in general. And I also want to share some of the benefits of being someone with a private life, as well as some things that I do to not really overshare and know my limits, because I used to be the girl that everyone knew my business, everyone knew what was going on with me, with my personal life, with friends, like literally just with everything. And as I'm getting older and my circle has been significantly getting smaller, and I'm realizing who's there for me and who's not, and who is worth it and who isn't, I really started to value the presence of being a more private person and just not sharing everything. And I know that maybe there are some of you guys out there as well who want to learn to undo this, because I'm telling you guys, like, it was really hard for me to not literally post about my entire life. But yeah, let's just get right into some of these tips and how I think these could benefit you guys. So some ways to have a more private life and not share everything online or as much with people is to not let people know every single aspect of your life, especially online, because to me, I feel like the worst thing that you can do is sharing your business with people, because you really don't know people's intentions. Like, you don't know what people want to use what you say for. And especially if you are someone of value, like where people can literally just take everything that you say. Like, we always see on social media and stuff, especially like I feel like in the influencer world, people are always kind of backstabbing each other and showing behind their back like who said this, who said that. And that's really the worst thing you could do, is just share your business with people, especially if you haven't known them really for that long. And that actually takes me into number 2, which is don't share everything going on with people and coworkers or acquaintances, because people can really take anything you say and twist it into their own words. Like, I remember when I was younger, like in middle school and high school, people loved rumors. People loved to make little scenarios up that didn't even happen, and people would eat that up and believe it. And imagine in a world today where social media is as prevalent and as big as how it is, like, it's even easier now for people to believe rumors and tabloids and all that stuff. So literally be careful with who you share specific information with. And an example of this, especially when it comes to coworkers and if you're in a work environment, if you even say to someone that you're not really that close with, like, oh, I hate my job, and you're joking, or you're like, I don't want to do work today, that coworker that coworker can easily go to your manager or your boss and be like, oh, Pamela said that she doesn't want this job, like she doesn't want to work anymore, she wants to go do this that. It's like that manager can, if they're rude, like they can literally be like, yeah, you're done here, like you're fired, pack up your stuff, clean up your desk, it's been nice knowing ya. So be extra careful, especially in the environment that you're in, of what you're saying. Number 3 is have limits with certain people in certain environments. As I just mentioned, you don't really know what people's intentions are. And I'll give you guys an example. For example, with me, I don't consider myself like well known or a public figure. Like when I go to events, I will meet people that say, oh, I know you from social media, or I know you from TikTok. And that's literally like one of the best feelings in the world. Someone in my own school literally bumped into me. Well, not literally bumped into me, but I was sitting in the hallway and she was like, oh my God, I know you from TikTok. Like those are moments that are so exciting and so fun. And so when I was first getting my start on social media, I had friends that would warn me about other friends in our friend group and say they want to use you. They're waiting for you to blow up so that they can say that they know you and they want to literally just be famous off you. When in reality, it was literally that friend that was warning me about the other friends who was basically wanting to use me. And that is just a very small example of many examples that I've encountered. But it's like you really never know who is actually using you and who is not, because in those moments, I'm just gonna be straight up. Like, I am someone who's very gullible. Like, I believe a lot of things, and especially when it comes to my friends and people that I love, like if they tell me something, I'm really gonna believe it. And when that friend told me like, oh, this girl wants to use you, I genuinely believed it. I was like, you know what, you might be right. And in my head, I started putting together like all of these little details and these things that weren't even true, because this person made me believe that these other people were out to get me. So it's literally like, obviously now I am not that same girl. I am a totally different person, and I'm more mature and I have my own thoughts now, and those people aren't even in my life anymore. But I look back and I'm like, I cannot believe I was so naive to let these people basically like not bully me, but kind of like coerce me into thinking that these other people were out to get me when it was literally them. So that is one example of just be extra careful and have limits when you're in certain environments. Next is, if you want to share something or talk about anything that is near and dear to you, I would just recommend journaling about it, or be extra careful about sharing good news and celebrating too early, especially with certain people. I am someone, especially when it comes to celebrating too early, the only people that I will ever text or let know when something's in the works is my sister or my boyfriend, because they are the closest people in my entire life. Like, they know everything about me inside and out. They know me like the back of my hand. I know them like the back of my hand. And they're the only ones that really know when things are going on, and it could be good or bad. It could be like in the middle. They just know everything. And when it comes to celebrating too early, I used to have a really big problem with that, because again, especially being a content creator, whenever a brand would email me and say, we want to work with you, or we want to pay you this much for this, I would immediately go on social media and be like, oh my God, this brand wants to work with me. Or I would overshare something online and I would end up getting in trouble for it, either from the brand or from just someone who works at the company, or I would just get in trouble like in general, and like not even in trouble, but like the brand deal would not even end up happening because I celebrated too early. And I feel like this applies with everything in life. Like, if you are having something that's in the works, like maybe a new job, and you finally post like, I got a job interview, it's going well, and then you don't get it, you will probably make yourself believe that it's literally because you weren't able to get it because you celebrated early. And that has happened to me so many times. So I'm telling you guys, like, if you just have good news or you want to celebrate early, I really recommend just journaling about it, because that's what I do. I immediately go to my journal and I will just write on there like things that are going on and what I'm excited about, and then I put that journal away. Next up is to listen more than you speak. I really recommend just listening to what is around you. Always take in information on how to improve your life and be a better person, because I am someone who, I used to talk. Like, I literally have a podcast. I do not mind sitting down for 30-40 minutes and just talking to myself. But especially when you're around certain people, I feel like you just need to absorb information. And I'm not saying absorb gossip or absorb drama, but when you're around people, like for example, when I go to events, I love to absorb information about other people. Like, what is your job? What do you do? How did you get there? I've literally been to an event before. I think it was back in January, and I literally was chatting it up with a PR girl that was working there. And I was like, not to be weird, but like, I'm in college and I want to do PR when I graduate. Like, how did you get the job that you're at right now? And she told me her whole story, what she went to school for, how it literally was not what she was studying at all. She ended up doing this like part-time with someone she knew from her other job at like a gym. And then they were like, come work for my PR firm. So literally, that is the kind of information that I mean absorb, because at the end of the conversation, we ended up exchanging emails and information, and she was like, connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's see if we can get something set up for you for the summer. Or I've been to another event before as well where I chatted it up with the founder. We made some memories. It was super fun, such a eventful night. And then at the end, she was like, when you graduate, hit me up. We'll see if there's anything open for you because you're great and you're already in this industry, so you already know about it. So it's moments like that where I mean, listen more than you speak. Obviously speak, talk about yourself, but don't overshare information to the point where the other person is literally just silent the whole time and just listening and probably doesn't even care that much about what you're saying. So listen, and again, use certain environments and certain situations to your advantage by networking and putting yourself out there, because that can definitely benefit you. And again, it's not in a negative or a harmful way. Lastly is to filter out who is around you, and this can be friends, family, or acquaintances. Some people, as I mentioned earlier, will only be friends with you because they want to benefit themselves, or they want to copy you, or even be better than you. Like, I have known people that I was friends with in high school that in college would hit me up and be like, how did you do this, or how did you do that? And it's like, you can give them all the information in the world, but if at the end of the day, what you give them, they don't apply it and they just want to copy what you're doing, it's never going to work. I've seen it so many times, not just with people that I've known like in the past, but just in general on social media. Like, we all know when Alex Earl was blowing up, like not earlier, but like at the end of last year / like into January 2023, everybody was like, okay, the secret is just to make get ready with me videos. And it's like, no, that is not the secret. You are literally just copying her. And so you need to just be able to find something that is unique to you. And the only reason why that was blowing up for her is because she always had something to talk about. There was always something interesting that she was doing. She's in college / doing social media / was in a relationship. Like, there was a lot going on in her life, and that was interesting for people to sit down and listen to. But if you try to replicate that and try to kind of be like her and her personality, it's not going to work, and people are going to be like, you're copying her. So think of your favorite influencers, or think of people that you look up to that are probably in the media world, and you see what makes people like them. Like, for example, everyone loved Emma Chamberlain like a few years back when she was in that whole like influencer world. Now she's obviously like a lot more above that, and she's literally hosting the Met Gala and doing like super awesome things, which is literally like, I think, such an awesome glow up. So people like that, it's like, you know why people gravitate towards those personalities, and try to do that for yourself. You know, don't be a carbon copy of other people. And if you try to do that and copycat and be other people, like, you are just not going to get anywhere, just plain and simple, because you're not being yourself, and eventually you're going to get tired of playing that role. And the same thing applies to people in your life. Like, when you finally feel like you are getting somewhere and you are where you want to be, people are going to try to copy you. People are going to try to be you. And I have dealt with this personally, where people literally just take my content word for word, or they take my content and they just put it in their own way. And I'm like, you basically just took what I said but made it in your own version, and that can be really annoying sometimes. So just be really careful who's around you, and definitely filter anyone out. Now we're moving into the benefits of being a person with a private life and just not oversharing. So number one is definitely safety reasons. It is going to be so much easier for you to be safer when you're not sharing everything online. And I've never shared this before on the internet, but I think that this is a really good lesson for you guys to know, which made me really scared one time. And basically, it was early in the morning. I think it was like 9:30, and I went to a city. I'm not going to say the exact city because, again, privacy reasons, but I went to this city. I took the train and it was me and my sister. We were shooting content. We were in like a grassy area and we shot some content. Like I said, it was early in the morning and I posted a live Instagram story of me there. And this was last summer or the summer before. Yeah, okay, this was either 2 years ago or last summer. And I was just starting out on social media, but I was gaining like a pretty decent amount of followers for like a small creator. And when I posted this live story of where I was, I checked my Instagram requests, like for people that swipe up on your story that don't follow you. And this guy has said that he was actually working out like in the gym that was right by the area that I was at. And he was like, can I go grab you a coffee and like bring it to you? I'd love to meet like up with you. And I literally was like, is this a joke? Like, I blocked the guy, deleted the request, deleted my story, and told my sister, like, I literally was like, we have to move. Like, we have to get out of here because I had never accepted the request. I just kind of left it, like, in that area where you can decline it or accept it. And I got so scared. Like, I'm not even kidding. I deleted everything and I was just like, we have to get out of here. We got to move. And then we went to another area of the park that was like on the complete opposite end. But I am telling you guys, like, ever since that moment, when I posted where I was like live in that moment, I got so scared. And now I just do this thing where I post after I've already left the area. And again, it's just for safety reasons because you really don't know how crazy people are. And especially when you're bigger online, it's just not good. But you don't even have to be a big social media personality person in order to have people stalk you or in order to have people like know where you are. Anyone at any time can go on your Instagram account if you are public or even on TikTok. Like, so ever since that moment, I've just been really scared. So safety reasons are definitely a big benefit of being a person that has a private life. Another benefit is that people will not have anything to really talk about when it comes to you, or they will have less to talk about when they don't know as much about you. And I feel like people are always going to gossip. I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't had moments where I've talked about things that I've seen online, but people love to talk, and especially in really, really negative connotations, like just dragging people. Like, I see it all the time on TikTok and it's so sad, where girls will post like they're shooting content alone in public and then girls behind them will be making fun of them or taking pictures of them. And I'm like, that's so messed up because people are just living their life and you're out here making fun of them. So I am a lot less judgmental than how I was. I remember like in middle school and high school, because it's really about the people that you're around. And I was friends with people that loved gossip. They loved to talk about drama that happened years ago and keep bringing it up like as if it was new information. And I used to eat it up because, again, I didn't know any better. These were the only people I've really known for majority of my life. And then when I finally left the environment, I was like, yeah, I don't know why or how I ever did that for so long, because I don't like talking about other people like that, and other people genuinely enjoy it, and that is literally the center of their life. So when you share less of your life online and people don't know as much, there's not much for them to talk about, because what do they know? They don't really know as much. And that moves me into the next benefit, which is that you can bounce back from anything that is going on in your life without people knowing and holding you down. Because I remember I used to also tell people a lot about things that happened in my personal life, things with family, friendships, relationships, like literally whatever it was. I just love to blabber my mouth to people. And when you tell people specific things and then you do something else, they will hold you to that to no end. Like, for example, when let's just say you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you break up with them because you guys had a really big fight, and then you tell all your friends like what he did to you, what he said, but they don't know that you guys were able to make up behind the scenes and that he apologized, or that he was like, I'm going to make it up to you. Your friends are only going to see all of the horrible and nasty things that he said to you, and they're only going to see him now as a terrible person in their eyes. They're not going to see him or her or whoever it is you're dating as how you see them in your eyes. And that is why I also stopped telling my friends and just people about my friendships and relationship and all that stuff, like, because the less people know, the better. And if you tell them like problems and things that are going on, they're going to hold you to that, and they're going to be like, really? You took him back even after he said XYZ? So if they don't know, I'm not saying like take a guy or your girlfriend back if they're like cheating on you or doing something terrible. That is not what I'm saying. But you know, everyone who's in a relationship, you go through little fights. Even in friendships, you have little bickerings, you have little things that make you guys, you know, not talk for a few days or even like a few hours, and then you guys bounce back. Like me and my sister have fights all the time, but we bounce back, and that's just literally how it is. But if you tell the wrong person, they are going to literally hold you to that and be like, what is wrong with you? The next benefit is that you get to unplug from everything else that is around you and all of the drama. I personally love to unplug after a certain time at night. I've mentioned this before in previous episodes. After a certain time, I don't like to go on social media. I don't like to check my emails anymore. I literally just like to be technology free, either reading my book or being on my Kindle and reading on there. Like, I love to do that. And you also get to always live in the moment and think less about the past and the future, because you're just living for right now. And again, I'm someone who I'm always thinking about the future. I'm always thinking about the past. And I talked about this before. The reason why I started my fashion blog is because I literally was going into college with major anxiety that I had an empty resume and was going empty-handed. And I felt like I wasn't unique at all. And I was going to be around all these talented kids, and then I was nothing. So if I would have never had that anxiety, I would have never started my blog or even social media in general. But again, now I am a completely different person, and I think a lot more about the present and just being in the moment and making every day just as good as the previous. And one of my favorite quotes and kind of sayings is like, be 1% better every single day than the person you were before and the person you were yesterday. Because why not? Why not be a better person tomorrow and really grow from the person you were before? Some of the last benefits that I want to quickly talk about is you are also going to care a lot less about what people think and being accepted, and you're going to create boundaries, as well as you're going to find value in yourself and what you want to do, your interests, gain your own confidence, and you're not going to want to find this approval from other people or wanting them to accept you, because all my life, all of middle school, all of high school, I always wanted to be accepted. I always wanted people to like me, and I was getting tired of it. I was getting tired of putting up this mask when I was around certain people just for them to like me. And I wanted to be me. Like, the real me is like weird and funny and loud and not really the shy person that sometimes I show online. Like, when I'm around my sister and my boyfriend and my family and my close friends, like, I'm literally just like a wild child, and I like to just be like super loud and laugh. And again, I am happy now to be myself, because I'm not finding approval or seeking that in anyone else, because I don't really care. I'm me, and being me is what has gotten me to where I am today, and it's just going to continue to do that. To end off today's episode, I want to give you guys some things that I do to keep my life more private, because maybe you guys can also implement this into your own, which is the first thing. I never share specific goals or things that I want to accomplish online. And the reason why is because, again, people like to use your goals, and people like to use things that you post, or just like to take anything that you post about in general and want to be you. Like, you can post tomorrow that you want a pink Lamborghini, and suddenly you'll see 15 other girls being like, my dream car is like a pink Lamborghini. It's like, where did this come from if you never posted it? So that is exactly why I will never show my vision board online. I will never share things that are near and dear to me and my heart with the internet, or even friends, really, because again, I've just had so many bad problems in the past where people have tried to literally be a carbon copy of me, or they've just tried to do things that I wanted. Like, I will never forget, I would tell my friends like, I want to buy this, and then the next week they would be like, oh, look what I bought, and I'm like, okay, I should have never shared that with you, because now you went and did it, and now I'm just like, okay, great, like, what is even the point? So I don't share specific goals or certain things like that, and I also keep my feelings offline and just more private. Like, I will never post if I'm sad, if I'm crying, if I'm upset, because people, especially when you have a lot of people that follow you from like where you live, they will use that to their advantage and they will run with that. I've seen it time and time again. It's not fun. And of course, if I am feeling really happy and like excited and I'm really grateful for certain things, like for example, today I had an interview with a magazine. I think it was called Rooster magazine, from, it's like based in Spain. Super grateful for that, and I posted it and I was like, I can't believe this, like I'm so grateful. But when it comes to other moments, like for example, if I'm fighting with someone, like I will never post that. If I'm crying about something in my personal life, I will not post that, just because I don't want that kind of stuff out there. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to show that side of me online, because I had like a series over winter break that I posted where I was just not feeling like myself. I was losing sight of who I was. I was kind of having like an identity crisis, and I posted it online because I was like, other content creators and people out there definitely deal with imposter syndrome or just feeling down in general. But when it comes to personal things, like with family, friends, relationships, like that, you will never see me posting. And lastly is, I never complain or tell people about things in my personal life and then post that as well. I will only tell my sister because she lives with me, or my boyfriend, because as I said before, they are the closest people in my life and I literally love them to death, like would go to the ends of the earth for them. And I really only tell them what is going on, especially when it comes to like personal stuff. But when you complain and you start telling people like, oh, I feel this way or I feel that way, people, again, they like to use that to their advantage, and it's really not fair. And you just don't deserve to go through those situations, because I've been there way too many times and it is not fun. Thank you guys so much for listening to Pretty and Prepared, and make sure to tune in every Monday for new episodes at 8 a.m. and my DMs are open for any podcast episode ideas you guys have, or if you guys just want to talk, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. That is all for today's episode. I really hope that this was informative and you guys learned a thing or two, because I used to be the girl. I had a Finsta in high school and I shared my entire life online, and that is just not fun. It's not it. It gives you even more anxiety, if anything, and you're never going to be yourself. So I really, really hope that this was helpful, and maybe you are looking to become a more private and quiet person. So let me know what you guys think of this episode. And again, I'm going to be posting more of these on my Instagram, which is Pretty and Prepared Pod, as well as my main Instagram, which is Pamela M. Valdez.